So I've wanted to do this video for a while now. But I thought I would wait until African American History Month. It seemed like an appropriate one. And I wanted to do a couple of videos for this month, and this one just seems like the only one that really needs to be done right away. Or maybe I'll do another one, but I don't know. This one is important to me. This one's important. And the reason it's important is I got no dog in the fight. I don't know what it's like to be African American. I've always been raised white. I have been treated cruelly and nastily and meanly for refusing to answer racial questions about myself. I've had women spit in my face. I've had people push me. I've had a lot of crazy shit go on because I refused to answer the question. But I'm going to qualify that right now. I have family in Poland that looks like me. I have cousins, fourth cousins, and things like that. My family came over here a long time ago. But my mother was Polish and Eastern German, and I'm her spin and image, according to everybody. And my family were Poles. And Poles 100 years ago, it was not a popular place to be. Anybody that's over 45 should have heard a lot of Polish jokes growing up, probably. And it was so unpopular that in World War II, my grandmother's brother refused to go in as Nowakowski. He changed his name, his last name, on his application to serve in World War II because he didn't want to be mistaken for a Pole. That's how much we hated certain Europeans. But they still got to click the white box. So I have a unique perspective compared to most people. I've been attacked for being Hispanic, but I don't have a lick of Hispanic in me. I've been attacked for being Native American. I don't have any Native American. What an honor it would be, if I had any, but I don't. And I don't have any African American in me either. I have no African in me at all. So it's a quandary for me. How do I present this? Because I do know what it's like to be attacked and have people ask me, what are you? What are you? And where does that arrogance, what are you? Or you don't belong here. Where does that arrogance all come from? Where does it stem from? And I want you guys to think about it. It comes from the goddamn white box. And I'm sorry if that offends some of you with the God part, but it's a word. And other people use different words for that same word. But it's the white box. And in this country, the white box is supreme. It has been since the founding of the country. The very first census in this country in 1790, the very top box was white male over 16. The next box was white male under 16. The next box was white female. And then free colored slaves. Let's be clear for you white folk that want to argue about servitude. The specifications and the instructions were they get counted as white. By the 1830s, they are desperate to know how many white people are in the country and at what age categories. They didn't give a shit about the free colored, they just wanted to count. And they didn't give a shit about the slaves. They figured that's your property, you take care of it. But they needed to know the demographics, the age categories for white America. So you see that start to be created in the 1830s. By the 1850s, 1860s, they start to add mulatto. And they want to qualify that by the 1860s, 1870s to establish lineage. They start using words like quadroon, which apparently means somebody that is 1/4 black. Yeah, 1/4 black. Three quarters white, 1/4 black. Might be the opposite of that. But they wanted to start qualifying how much. And a lot of laws were implemented at the time, Blue Book laws, that were implemented even at the founding of the country or before, that stated that you had to be at least 7/8 white to marry another white person. I'm making that up. State of South Carolina said 95%. That's right. So they started trying to qualify that. They also added, they started to subdivide. They had the Chinese added because there were so many Chinese now because of the railroads. According to all documentation, the Chinese first came over here in 1847. That is incorrect according to British Railroad records. The British railroads, 3 different companies, helped build a lot of the railroads in the United States pre-Civil War. And those companies brought Chinese people here for the TNT knowledge that they carried and the gunpowder knowledge that they carried on how to build tunnels. They started bringing them over in the 1830s. There's no documentation in our government's records of those Chinese that came here in the 1830s and early 1840s. But there are documented families that have record going back that far throughout the West. And I suspect that if we were to go through those records from one of those British railroad companies, like one of them that was based out of Athens, Georgia, we would find out that when the Civil War happened, they were slaughtered. That didn't change the fact that after the Civil War, that same British company then brought in over 5,000 of them during Reconstruction, working throughout the Southeast. Facts. So when some of you say you have a kind of Asian look on your eyes, when you get that DNA and it comes back with a little bit of Chinese, just imagine that maybe some of your ancestors were murdered because they weren't the right skin tone. But that's got nothing to do with the white box per se. That's just some heinous history. When we talk about the white box, it's always been on top. We roll into the 1800s and into the 1900s, and Japanese gets added. But the reason Japanese got added was because of the Boxer Rebellion. And the United States and her allies in Europe were still backing the Chinese royals during the Boxer Rebellion. And Japan was a problem for China at the time. And as a result, our government added to the census the Japanese, which they would eventually use to round up Japanese pre-World War II and in World War II. It wasn't coincidence they added that box. It's just for their own concentration camps in case they needed to round them all up. That should give a lot of you pause now that they've added that Hispanic box. Especially when you consider Uvalde was 95% plus white in the 2010 census. And in the 2020 census, where they managed to have some shitbag racist in the main administration spot, add the Hispanic extra box following all the other boxes. Uvalde turned into 95% white Hispanic. Do you wonder why that racist shitbag governor of Texas didn't go to Uvalde? Coincidence? So, the white box, from the very inception of the country, has been a problem, right? It's been the top box. It's not like in alphabetical order, white is on the top. It's in alphabetical order, it's the bottom. But as the color divided out into everything else, of course, they get divided out to where they're from, racially from, right? The white box stays consistent. White box, white box, white box. And so you have your 40% of the American population is racist white, like from mild racist all the way to racist. You will not replace us. Yeah, God. And then you have your progressive white America, 30% of the population, that, you know, professes to be, you know, I'm progressive. I believe in rights for all and blah 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 blah. Okay. So did Amy Cooper. Y'all remember Amy Cooper, right? I mean, I already talked about her, so you should remember who I'm talking about. Bleeding Heart, all up and down her freaking social media before that incident in Central Park. And here's the problem. Like, a lot of people, a lot of African Americans, a lot of Native Americans write books, including academics, write books trying to figure out how to have these conversations with progressive white America. And I can tell you from experience, progressive white America's response when you try to explain something to them is, oh, I know. No, you don't. You're bleached white. You burn at the first sign of sunlight. You're blonde hair, naturally blonde, or maybe that's bottle blonde, I don't know. You're blue-eyed. You can't possibly know what it's like to be attacked because somebody mistook you for not white enough. But I've had women like that, and a couple men, tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe as a Pole, I don't have a fucking clue. I don't know. Stupid Polish jokes. But again, doesn't matter what my makeup is. Doesn't matter. What matters is racists don't fucking care what your actual background is. They can't tell that by looking at you. None of you can. But you sure as fuck can tell what is or isn't the white box to you, can't you? That's what it comes down to, the fucking white box. And let's be blunt. If it didn't come down to the white box and what you think is white enough. No, by the way, this is a sliding ruler. It's a slide rule. On one spectrum, with the most racist white person in the planet, it's going to be like this god-awful Aryan Nation, blonde hair, blue-eyed, bleach blonde, bleach whatever, bleach skin. Completely unrealistic, by the way, because Hitler himself was the same color as me. Same eye color, same hair color, same skin tone. How's that gonna work? But then, from the flip side of it, progressive liberals still have the same attitude. Like, well, I know what you're talking about. I know how it works. Literally, there are hundreds of books written by Black people, Native people, Asian people, all trying to figure out, other Americans trying to figure out how to tell progressive white America about racism that they don't know, that they haven't experienced. And at best, the only way they are going to understand it is if somebody explains it to them. They think they know. That's that white savior bullshit all over again. I mean, it is. And again, why do you automatically think that way? Because of the fucking white box. It's on everything. Everything. Job application, census, mortgage application, bank account application. Goddamn poll to tell which one of the grocery stores you like the best. White box. Right for a top. I got a simple solution. I got a simple solution for the racist whites and the progressive whites. Boom. All 70% of the white American population. The entire population of white America. The 70% of the entire population. Got an easy solution. Stop clicking the white box. Problem solved. Problem solved. You don't want to be replaced? You don't want to be this? You don't want to be that? You don't like the idea of all these minority programs? Stop clicking the white box. It's that goddamn simple. You're white, progressive, you really want to be supportive of all those minorities? Stop clicking the white box. Simple. Why aren't you stopping? Because those blue book laws are still on record, aren't they? They sure as fuck are. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, some states even have it in their state constitution. Most of them have changed it. But there's a lot of blue book laws left. We saw that with women's rights recently. Say, if you're less than 7/8 white, you can't marry another white person. If you're less than 95% white in some of those blue book laws, you can't marry another white person. Facts. And this train just keeps rolling. Click the white box. Click the white box. Why are you clicking the white box? Oh, there's nothing to it, right? There's nothing to it. There's no such thing as white privilege according to that 40% of racist whites. No. No, that part of the 40% of the population, which is 60% of white America. Let's be clear. White America is 70% of the population, and 60% of it, 40% over the overall American population, claim there's no such thing as white privilege. Really? Then why are you clicking the white box? There's no such thing as privilege. What do you need to click the white box for? Oh, those progressives know it. They're lying too. They know. They know. That white box to this day, still affects a lot of other stuff. Not stuff that should matter, right? If you click the white box, if you're white in front of a judge, you're going to serve less incarceration on an average by 10% for the same crime of minority. So if you commit robbery and a minority commits the same exact crime as you, you are more likely to get up to an average of 10% less time for the same crime. Oh, yes. There's a black woman who thought she would be a racist and join with the little racist whites and somehow shove her way into that. And she's finding out real quick that the judge doesn't like her. He's not racist, but she doesn't have a good lawyer. And they're not helping her. She's finding out real quick. But again, if you think that white box doesn't matter anymore, we all know it does. We all know it does. That's why you're still clicking it. There are covenants in this country, even though it's illegal to have real estate covenants that say that you cannot sell, that minorities are barred or in any way, shape, or form, or single women are barred in any way, shape, or form. Since 1968, since before I was even fucking born, there's a law that says it's illegal to have those kind of real estate covenants. They still exist. They were still made in the 70s and 80s. Yep. They're still in the books. There are realtors that were still following them in the last 10 years. Literally, there were lawsuits in recent years about these racist covenants that are still being followed that shouldn't have been because they're illegal since over 50 years. But that's why you're still clicking the white box. Let's be blunt. That's why you're still clicking the white box. Plus, it's at the very top. Every time you see that box, whether you're taking a job, census, again, poll, it's always, boom, right there. Let's be honest. It's not even accurate. If you were being honest, you're Euro. You're Euro descendant. You're European descendant. You're European American. So I have a suggestion for all of you. If you're so goddamn progressive, or even if you're so goddamn worried about what the minorities might be getting, stop clicking the white box. Problem solved. Can you imagine what would happen to those polls if 70% of people just stopped answering? Wait. Nope. Prefer not to answer. Other. Here. Other. Euro American. You're so worried about it. Stop clicking the white box. Simple. Stop disrespecting people because they can't click the white box. Or you think they can't click the white box. That's comical. It's a sliding scale. I'm going to end on one note about that white box. I used to love taking my little boys, when they were little boys, they're grown-ass men now, to a lot of Civil War reenactments. I just loved it. Love history. One of my boys did embrace history. And I left the three of them watching this battle, and I had to go to the restroom, and I said, I'll be right back. Stay here. Run to the restroom, porta potty, run back. And I walk up on this man handing my kids books, including Mein Kampf and a book that said Lincoln is the devil. The front cover. And I looked at my boys, who were all blonde at the time. I mean, in the summertime, they were all blonde. One was blue-eyed, big blue eyes. He still has big blue eyes. One had those gray-blue that go blue and gray. And he was like so happy that day. They were bright blue also, like a deeper blue. But they had beautiful blue eyes, the two of them. And then my one son has like that hazel brown. They're like a cross between mine and my grandmother's eyes. And the guy looks at me as I say, what's going on? And they're like, oh, Mom, look at he's giving us these books. And I looked at him and I'm like, and he goes, you their stepmom? No, these are my children. I gave birth to them. Give the nice man his books back. That's right. That scale in you guys' pea brains isn't even accurate. Hitler's the same skin color as me. Of course, he never was out in the sun. I periodically like the sun. Not that does me any good, but again, that scale is a rolling scale. You don't even know who is white or who isn't white by looking at them. So stop clicking the white box. Problem solved. As soon as the federal government and all these other organizations realize you don't want to click that box anymore, and you guys are the only ones that can make it go away. The 70% is the majority. You're the only ones that can make it go away. Minorities cannot make it go away. Native Americans almost have to click that box. Because financial aid to their school systems and for running freaking water depends on it. Can't blame them for clicking their box. But why are you still clicking it? If you're so progressive, you definitely shouldn't be clicking it. It doesn't matter to you. It's not going to affect your credit score anymore. It's actually not going to affect your mortgage either, because those guys are actually required to click the box for you now. Believe it or not. Again, another change by the last administration. So the solution is simple, people. You want racism to end and you're part of white America? There's no reason for you to click the box, according to you. There's a benefit. Oh, you know you get your privilege, but you only get it if you look white enough to whoever's looking at you. Just stop clicking it. It's that simple. And when enough of you stop clicking it, it will be useless. And it'll go away. And racism in this country will finally start coming to an end. It's that goddamn simple. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'm sorry that you want to keep on with your privilege and your white box. But truth is, you're the ones that started it, and you're the ones that are going to have to finish it. Oh, well, you're white. Oh, yeah, suddenly I'll be white. Because I've had this conversation with somebody. She goes, well, you're white. You click it? Actually, no, I don't anymore. I write in Polish, German, Ukrainian, American, for reals. And then I click the Asian box, because I have some Asian in me too. May as well be honest. Keep clicking that white box. But don't you fucking tell me you're progressive anymore. Don't tell anybody you are. Because you're a liar. Because you're still clicking the white box. And the only reason it exists is because of white America. Peace.